everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 24 of the Casual Movie Club. It's me, John, your good friend, and also couldn't do an episode without my good friend, Brian. What's up, my friend?
Hey, what's happening, buddy?
How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. So this week, if you couldn't tell by my wonderfully happy greeting, we did a surprise movie.
I was surprised. I was surprised. Thinking back on it, I probably shouldn't have been surprised. We've talked about this movie a couple times.
Yep.
Maybe not on the pod, but offline.
Right. And for those wondering, what movie did you guys do? We did Mrs. Doubtfire from 1993. And I've got to ask Brian, like I do in the beginning of all podcasts, did you like it?
I didn't like it as much as I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Go on.
This was... I liked the movie. I didn't love the movie when I first saw it in my younger years. This was a film that I saw in school. This was one of those days where the teachers were like, there's nothing going on, let's put on a movie, or a substitute teacher would come in and they'd put a movie on, the class would have a free period.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I've seen this movie probably about 5 times.
Okay.
But it's been a long stretch since I've seen it.
Okay.
And for me, the humor didn't hold up.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised at that.
I was getting more and more concerned as the movie was going on, and you were laughing. It's like, oh man, like I know this is funny. I see the joke, I recognize it, but I'm just not.
You weren't feeling it.
I wasn't feeling it.
Now, when you first,
this is a kids movie, and
I don't think it's a kids movie.
You don't?
No, I think it's a family movie. I think it's.
I'll give you that. Yes.
Maybe even. I don't know if I would go so far as to call it chick flick.
No, I was not at all.
No. Okay, so not a chick flick.
Family film.
It's a family movie.
Yeah, this is a film you take the kids to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a film for kids,
right?
But
it's a film that has kids in it.
Yeah,
it's got kids in it.
Technically, that's the truth.
Right. We're not lying. But so you didn't like it?
It was fine. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I guess I didn't dislike it.
Okay.
I experienced it.
Okay. Now, when you first got here today, I said, hi, how are you, and everything. You said, oh, I'm tired. Like, do you think you might have been more into the movie if you weren't as tired, or if you had maybe a little more energy?
I don't think so.
Really?
Because as I'm not sleepy tired, I'm physically tired. But,
like worn out tired?
Yeah, like worn out tired. But yeah. I really gave it the old college try. Yeah. I tried to focus on the movie and think about the categories and think about the acting and the music, and I really gave it my best shot.
Okay. And I respect that. I really do. And I think there were, I was actually thinking about this before we started recording. I think there were definitely a lot of things I really, really did like about this. But then there was a few things that kind of jumped out at me as, I don't know, for some reason watching it this time around didn't hit home for me. And I think the biggest thing was the movie felt slow.
It was slow.
It felt slow to you too?
It was slow, yes.
Yeah, and I've never really felt that way about this movie until today, until watching it with you right now. And maybe it was because I might have been picking up on your, I'm not loving this vibe or something. Or maybe it was just today, but this watch felt really slow. And I was thinking, okay, now we got to, because I've seen this movie a number of times. Overall, I do like the movie a lot.
Uh-huh.
But, I'm kind of thinking like, so we still have to go through the montage with Dude Looks Like a Lady. We still have to go through the scene at the pool. We have to go through the Bridges restaurant thing. We have to go through. So I'm like, wow, we have so much to cover still, and I'm already kind of good to go.
I think that's it. This is one of those movies where you watch it. It's a good movie. It's really well put together. It's really well shot. Really well directed. Cinematography is good. I love the different camera angles.
It's unique.
It's a unique film. The thing about it is, though, when I was thinking back on this movie, I always think of the highlights. I think of the montage. I think of the cooking scenes. I think of the pool scene. I think of the restaurant.
Right.
And the high points of the movie are really what I remember.
Yeah.
It's the filler, the exposition. It's getting us from this event to the next event that really takes me out of it.
Yeah, and it's like there's a number. I think you hit the nail on the head, because there's a number of great memorable scenes and then filler that could really, I could kind of take or leave it.
This was longer than I expected too.
That's what she said. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of The Office too. So anyway, no, I agree with you, because with this being a surprise movie, you had your back turned to the TV, and I had the kind of preview screen up there, and it said it was 2 hours and 3 minutes, I think it was, and I was kind of surprised at how long that movie was, because for whatever reason, whenever I watched it, it never felt all that slow or that long to me, but today on this watch, it felt slow.
No, it didn't feel like a chore. Like,
no,
it didn't feel like a slog.
Persona.
Yeah, I was not a persona. I live in infamy.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a chore, and I only really checked my watch for the sake of time, just a couple times, just because again, I was surprised at how much they packed into this movie. Right,
and then there was also a lot of those times where things were kind of running slow. There wasn't a lot of action on screen. Mm-hmm. So, this would be a good movie to have on in the background, because you don't necessarily have to be glued to the screen the entire time.
I would agree.
There are a few times where you do need to be glued to the screen, like when they're first doing, when Uncle Frank and Aunt Jack are doing the initial transformation, and they're going through all the different looks, and he's doing those different voices to go with those. Like, that's one of my favorite parts.
Oh my God.
That is so funny.
I took issue with that.
You're kidding me.
He did this. There was a couple parts in this movie where it didn't add anything.
I disagree completely.
It was him mugging at the camera, doing voices, doing faces.
But that's quintessential Robin Williams.
It is Robin Williams, but you do that in service of the story. When he went to
But this was in service to the story.
It was
the one where he was going through and getting the different looks. The Latina look, mm-hmm. or the Barbara Streisand look and all that. He was trying to find the look for Mrs. Doubtfire, so that was part of the story. But I do agree with you. When he was sitting in the office with Mrs. Sellner and he was doing those voices and everything, that was a little much.
I disagree. When he had the phone call with Sally Fields,
that was so funny.
It was a funny phone call, and I loved it. But the voice, the mannerism,
with the males, because I used to be one.
No, sir, that's the thing. He already had this archetype of a character already played out, with the voice, the accent, where she's from. The name was something he came up with on the fly, but he had a basic archetype of this woman already. What was the point of doing a Latina, an old Jewish grandmother? None of those women had the voice.
I don't think those are related, though. Because didn't he come... Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not going to continue that thought, but I agree with you. Because I think maybe if they put that shot or that sequence earlier in the movie before he made all those phone calls, because if he had that archetype and he had that persona already created, he wouldn't have had to go through all those different things, or going through all those different looks would have been a part of him sussing out who Mrs. Doubtfire was going to be. And then once they decided on this old lady, he could call Sally Field, be the old lady, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and
so I think the placement of that was a little off.
Okay, yeah, and the thing at the court liaison where he's just doing Marx Brothers and he's doing different voices and impressions, and I appreciate Robin Williams. I really do. I just
God rest his soul.
That was, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
But I'm like, things like that was just like, come on.
And I was reading the trivia on IMDb. There was a lot of times where they just let Robin Williams run with it,
and that's his thing. That's what he is good at.
Yeah, and he did. They even did that for him with the genie when he was the genie in Aladdin.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because I think it really adds a lot of, sort of a human element to these movies where instead of it just being people that read a script, it's somebody giving a something organic or giving something, something human to just words on a page.
I agree with that, especially in regards to the scene where he had to play Daniel and play Mrs. Doubtfire to the court liaison.
Oh yeah, when she came to the apartment.
Yeah, when she came to the apartment. Now that, I read that was pretty much all improv because he had to. What I'm saying is the improv he was doing in the wigs and the makeup, the improv he was doing at the court liaison's office, it didn't add anything. That's 5 minutes that we could have gotten. That could have been in service for the story.
I'll give you the scene in the office where he was doing the impression of the hot dog and all that stuff. Like, I will give you that. That might have been a little much. But the lines and everything that he was doing when he was changing from Daniel into Mrs. Doubtfire or the other way around, when Mrs. Sellner was in the apartment, he's like, it's hard to keep abreast of things, and he's taking his bra off, and I'm becoming a new man, and he's taking off the thing. Like, I thought that was brilliant.
Oh yeah, I agree.
That was so funny. And
I agree.
And it did add to the story.
Yes,
because
agreed.
It was Daniel Hillard saying these things that are not lies. Like he's feeling like he's a new man, and he's feeling like he's gotten a hold of himself. So I think that did add up, and it did add something to the story.
I agree.
It didn't add a ton, but it added a little bit.
I'm talking about when he's in the makeup chair.
I still think. I mean,
I appreciate it, but it didn't. It didn't service the story in any way.
I think it would have had a better impact if it was earlier on in the sequence and it was before he made all the calls and had the voice.
Agreed.
Because once he had, like, you're right. Once he had the voice, it wouldn't make sense to have this like hot, edgy Latina. Like, I think the geese are going to be scared by this, and like he has these crazy long nails and everything.
Yeah,
that would not work with the voice he had for Mrs. Doubtfire.
The old Jewish grandmother too.
That was so funny,
hilarious.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. So you kind of mentioned that was one of the big things you took issue with. One of the big things that I took issue with was Sally Field.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I might agree with you on some points. What?
Okay, I felt, and I noticed this especially during this watch, but it just seemed like Sally Field's character was the most conflicted woman in this story that could possibly be in there. So what I mean by that is, she comes home in the very beginning to the house party with jump around, and all the kids are acting crazy. There's the petting zoo out front, and I mean, you and I both know that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why would there be a mobile petting zoo in San Francisco, and why would they unleash barnyard animals in the street if it's illegal to do so? Because the cop actually said it's illegal to have barnyard animals in a city environment. Why would this company operate?
So it's illegal to have animals of a barnyard nature.
Yeah, that's a plot hole right there, because this company, Bob's Mobile Petting Zoo, would not be in business.
Well, I agree with her though. Finish your thought.
Yeah, there's more. I had to dismiss Siri on my watch, so so that was one thing. But she would come home, or she would sort of have this, I'm sick of everything. This is horrible. You make me have to be the bad person in this relationship, and blah 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 blah. And then you see her in court, and she has this look on her face like, what did I do? Oh my God, I'm fucking everything up. Oh my God, I just want to take it all away. I want, the look, whenever the camera would pan over to her, she didn't look mad. She looked sad, depressed, upset. She looked like she was second guessing everything. She looked like she was on the verge of getting up and saying to the judge, you know what, forget it. We're going to stay married. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out. I just felt like she was not acting in the courtroom scenes. Her character was not behaving the way that she seemed to be in the rest of those scenes, like in the rest of the movie. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Now, are you talking about both court scenes or just the last one?
I think both.
I agree with both. The thing about it is that we we saw the birthday party, we saw the barnyard animals, we saw him trashing the house and things like that, and it seemed innocent. It seems like a cool thing he was doing for his kids.
Right.
But this is. And I was really surprised that she wasn't willing to work it out.
That I was just going to say that.
Well, the thing is, though, is we're coming into this family's life at this point in time. We haven't seen the 14 years leading up to this.
Right, exactly. But based on dialogue throughout the movie, they never seemed to make any attempts to work it out. It just seemed like she dealt with it the whole 14 years. And we came into this in the movie. We came into this at her breaking point where she was just done.
Now, I agree with you on up to the first court scene. The second courtroom scene, she did look conflicted, but I'm glad she didn't speak up.
Right.
Right? Really? Would you have wanted her to speak up in the second courtroom scene?
Yes. Because I still think she felt the same way. Because and if you look at the fact that after the second courtroom scene, shortly thereafter, she comes to visit Mrs. Doubtfire when she's on the set of her new show, and she's like, the kids need you and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
You know, so that right there is confirmation that she was like, you know what, maybe I fucked up in having the courts come down on you like a ton of bricks.
I don't think the courts came down on him hard enough.
I disagree.
You're right. Well, okay. So come with me on a journey, if you will.
Please.
You are a successful business person, and you reconnect with a friend in your same industry that you haven't met with in years. You had some romantic feelings for them before, but now you've fallen out of it. And then you come to realize that this person that you've had feelings for before and that you're still acquaintances with, now you're coming in contact with them again. And lo and behold, they're going through a divorce. Okay?
Okay.
Now just think of it from this perspective, and from this perspective only.
Okay.
You start to date this person. You didn't like kids before. You hated kids, but now you like their kids. And like, you know what? I could probably get on board because I really like this person. And I've gotten to know their kids. I'm really changing my mind on kids.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and during the dates, the housekeeper who's been nothing but vile and mean to you and just insulting the whole time tries to poison you, and then gives you the Heimlich maneuver, and then out of nowhere you're supposed to be like, oh okay, like this person is a crazy person. They're deranged. They have in public, you see, after they tried to poison you, you see that they have duped the person that you're interested and their kids for 90-some days. They've been lying to them, dressed up as an English house nanny, and now I'm supposed to be okay with this?
I understand that. I understand and I respect that.
And the husband that now, well, let's switch to Sally Field's perspective. The husband, the person that you've known for 15 years,
14 years,
married to them, 14 years, is suddenly out of nowhere dressing up as a stranger, has deceived your children, and to what end? To try to get closer to the children? Like, you had 90 days to get a job, get an apartment, clean up your act, and you couldn't follow the rules that the court set for you?
Well, he did follow the rules, but he just went a lot farther than he should have.
He broke the rules. He was only supposed to see his kids one week for 1 week, 1 day a week,
right,
every week for 90 days, and then he goes and he breaks that court order. and sees his kids every single day.
But did the court order say he wasn't allowed to dress up like a 65-year-old woman and pretend to be, the court didn't specifically forbid him from doing that, but I understand what you're saying.
The spirit of the spirit of the decision was you'd have no contact, physical or otherwise, with your kids, except for your 1 day a week for
when
90
it was
days.
supervised.
And it was the first time it wasn't supervised. The second time,
it was supervised both times.
No, not the first time.
I'm fairly certain it was.
Remember the apartment scene, the first time when his apartment's still trashed, the kids were there without any supervision. The mom...
That is true. Okay, I could have sworn the judge said for the first one that it would be 1 day per week on Saturdays supervised.
That's the second time.
That's fine.
But so all of this to say, Robin Williams is a lunatic. He's a lunatic who thumbs his nose at the law and to see his kids, because I'm addicted to my kids. The judge is right.
I would never say that in the courtroom too.
The judge is absolutely right, and Sally Field can feel as bad as all she fucking wants to. Your husband snapped when you divorced him, and he defied the. I'm breaking down a family film. It's supposed to have a heartwarming message.
I know.
Families are all different. You should love your family no matter what.
Right. I mean, but to bring up something you said a moment ago, I still take issue with the fact that, and again, we don't know what life was like during those 14 years that we weren't a part of in the movie.
You're right. We don't.
There was no evidence that Sally Field's character was anywhere remotely interested in trying to make it work. Like, the entire premise of the beginning of this film is she's like, I want a divorce, I want out.
And there might be a good reason for that.
I took issue with that because we didn't know the specifics of why she felt that way. And also, not to mention, she was a complete diametrical opposite to Robin Williams. Robin Williams' character was so much, fun, so much spontaneity, so much energy. She was corporate. She was, executive. She was, office worker, that kind of thing. So, there's a complete opposite right there. But she seemed so unwilling to make it work. And I mean,
that's what I was surprised about.
We don't even know that. We don't even. And while he said, Robin Williams' character said, we'll go to a family therapist. We'll go someplace.
That's
and
it.
Then,
yes.
And then she says, it's too late for that.
No, it's not.
No,
you're being inflexible.
Right. It's never too late for that, especially if somebody says, "Hey, I want to do what I need to do to make it work." If you love your kids, you shouldn't think about, I just want to divorce you. You think about what's the best thing for the kids.
Yeah, meet me in the middle here.
Right.
Maybe we can work this out.
Right. Because again, we don't know if they even tried to 14 years before the movie came in.
Now, I'm with you up to that point. The second time, though, she should be far more angrier at Robin Williams. That's just I'm looking at it from Sally Field's perspective. I'm looking at it from Pierce Brosnan's perspective. And Pierce Brosnan, by the way, dashing smile.
Yes.
Fucking charismatic as all get out.
Yes.
Fucking love that guy.
Me too.
He's amazing. Anyway,
yes.
So, yeah, I think that Sally Fields got what she had coming to her. I think Robin Williams got what he had coming to him. I actually think he got off light considering the fact that he blatantly went against the court's ruling the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, these two could have been a lot better off if they had just sat down and talked about it. But then again, I know, and I mean, I'm not one to talk from experience, but I know that when you're involved with someone, I mean, because I've had my own squabbles with friends and everything, sometimes just talking things out between the two of you is not always possible, or not. You don't always see eye to eye, or you don't have a good harmonious discussion. So sometimes it takes a big event or something big to sort of come between you and make you really realize what you're missing or what you have when you lose it.
Well, let me put that. Sorry to cut you off, but let me put this to you. Do you think that they could have worked it out, and we still could have had the Mrs. Doubtfire movie. Could they have said, all right, I just need you to move out. I need you to move into your own apartment. You can still see the kids, just not every day. And we still could have had the Mrs. Doubtfire movie.
Not necessarily.
I think you're right, because I think that Robin Williams was so crazy, so insane for his kids that it would have you needed the court order, you needed the divorce to separate him from the family. Otherwise, he's like, no, you can't make me leave. This is my house. These are my kids. This is my family. I live here too.
And maybe that sort of court intervention might have been what he needed to push him over to the edge to say, well, I have to be with my kids. I can't be without my kids. So what do I need to do that will skirt around the specifics of this court order that will allow me to still see my kids and still adhere to what the court order
I don't
dictates.
think there's skirting around it. You can't loophole your way through seeing your kids if the court says you are only.
I'm sorry to cut you off,
No,
but
go
I think the court order only specified the one day of visitation, but it didn't say you couldn't. It didn't. There was. I don't think there was a clause in there that says you could not dress up like someone else and pretend to be somebody else. That will allow you to still see your kids and dupe them into thinking you're someone else. I don't think that was part of it. Is it breaking other laws? Maybe, maybe not. But I don't think the specifics of that court order said he couldn't do that, and I think that's why he thought he could get away with it.
No. If I have a restraining order,
it wasn't a restraining order.
No, but this is it's the spirit of the judgment. It's if I have a court order to say, oh, I can't see this person, let's just call it a restraining order. I can't dress.
That's a different thing, though. That's a different order altogether.
All right. Well, it's not. It doesn't make any logical sense. The court is not gonna see the difference between you seeing your kids as you versus you dressing up and pretending to be somebody else. Just because you're pretending to be somebody else doesn't mean you're still not John, and you're still So that. It doesn't hold up.
So what do you guys think? Comment at us. Let us know what you think. Did Robin Williams' character go too far in his decision to become a 60-something-year-old English woman just to see his kids? Tweet us on Twitter or Instagram at Casual Movie Club and throw a hashtag of Mrs. Doubtfire in there and let us know, do you think he went too far in his efforts to simply see his kids on a daily basis because one day a week was not enough?
Yeah. If we have any legal eagles out there in the audience, drop us a line. Let us know.
Yeah, you betcha.
School us.
Yeah. Educate us. Now, on that note, do we want to get into numbers on this?
Let's do the numbers.
Is there anything else you want to bring up before we do that?
Pierce Brosnan's a handsome devil, court order shenanigans. No, I think we covered it all.
Yeah, and we talked about the mobile petting zoo and the ridiculous and how that would never if there's a law that says you're not allowed to possess barnyard natured animals in a city environment, then that business would never take off. So that's a little bit
actually one thing I hate in shows, TV, any kind of media where a protagonist has to switch back and forth between two parties in the same location. That whole dinner scene was just cringe fest for me.
Oh, I loved that.
I hate it. That's my least favorite thing.
Oh, God, I loved that.
Oh, man. The stress of having to go and say, oh, hi. You see this a lot when you have a character that has like multiple women or multiple partners like on a date or something like that. Like I hate it.
I don't know.
It makes me cringe.
I thought it was funny.
It makes me cringe. It was the funniest portion of the film that had the most gags, most jokes in my opinion, but I hate scenarios like that.
All right,
let's do the numbers.
Yeah. So for those unaware, the numbers are what we do here on Casual Movie Club. We actually like to rate the movies that we watch and give them scores on a number of criteria. And what are those criteria, you may wonder? Well, one of them is acting. How well did the actors convey the story? How believable were they? Were we watching people doing a job of just reading lines and acting on a screen, or did we feel like they were real people. The script, how was the quality of the writing, the actual dialogue itself? Was it believable? Did it seem like it should have been there? Did it seem like it was cheesy or too much or too little? Presentation, editing, and visual effects. How was the visual aspect of the movie? Was there copious amounts of green screen, or how were the camera angles and that sort of thing? Then the music and sound, the soundtrack as a whole, or as I like to call it, the goodies for your ears. Then there's the uniqueness. Has this type of movie been done before in that time frame? Because that's the major important thing we want to make sure to point out. Movies that have come out after this do not apply. So has this movie kind of thing been done before when this movie came out, or earlier, or around that same time? And then we have the engagement factor. How drawn into the movie were you? Were you glued to the screen? Were you sitting on the edge of your seat just dying to know what was going to happen next? Or were you looking at Instagram pictures of cats?
Dogs.
Oh, either way. So those are our criteria. And I think I would be remiss if I did not say, Brian, we should start with you. What did you think of the acting in Mrs. Doubtfire?
I thought all around the acting was generally good. I liked the performances for the most part. There wasn't really any bad performances. Yeah, no real stinkers. Even the bus driver, the creepy bus driver, I thought was fine in the delivery.
He had a little bit of an endearing characteristic to him.
Yeah. There's nothing really egregious, but then again, nothing really outstanding either.
Okay.
A little higher than middle of the road, in my estimation. I would put it at 3.5, might be a little low. Let's do 3.75.
Ooh, that does seem low. You sure you feel confident with that?
I do.
Okay. I disagree completely with that. I really liked the acting in that, except for Sally Field, but maybe that could have been part of the script and part of the writing and everything. I really liked Robin Williams. I really liked his, the fact that he's so versatile and can go from, straight-faced drama to silly comedy to different voices. I mean, I just think he's so versatile, and he brought a lot of that versatility to the part. I really like the acting as well, just as a whole from an entire movie. I'm not going to go in that realm of 3.75. I'm actually going to go with 4.59. So moving on to script, the quality of the writing. I think that the script was fine. I didn't have any, nothing offended me. Nothing jumped out at me as something that I didn't like or that was a big problem. I didn't take an issue with anything. But I think it's better than a middle of the road score. So I'm actually going to give the script I'm going to give it a 4 because and just kind of typical with Chris Columbus movies, especially, there's always some little message or some little, nugget to pull away from it. So, I think that the story was a good story despite the lunacy of how we told it and how it got around. I think the dialogue was good and the script was good. So I didn't have anything bad to say about it, but I think it was better than middle of the road.
I liked the script a lot. I know from the credits that this was adapted from a novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all of it seemed pretty believable considering all the holes I tried to poke in it earlier with the court system. Yeah. But I think as it was presented, I generally like the script. I'd give it a 4 even.
Cool. All right. And Brian, while we're on the subject of you talking to us, why don't you talk to us about presentation? What did you think of the presentation?
I mentioned earlier about the editing and the camera angles. I mean, it's a Chris Columbus movie, man. He's been in the game for as long as he has and has done as many films he has for a good reason.
Did he direct Princess Bride?
Chris Columbus?
I want to say he directed Princess Bride. I'm pretty sure he did Breakfast Club also.
I don't know, but I know he did The Help, and I know he did a few Harry Potter films.
He did?
Oh, he did. He did at least 3 Harry Potter films.
Huh.
What year was The Princess Bride? Was that?
We did that on the podcast, actually.
Oh yeah, we did, but I don't remember what year it was.
I don't know.
I don't think he directed Princess Bride.
Princess Bride was 87, and that was directed by Rob Reiner.
Oh, of course. I should have known that. Damn.
Yeah.
But back to the presentation, I thought it was top notch. Very little that I could critique. Not a perfect film either, though. So I would give it a 4.5.
4.5. All right. I'm gonna agree with a lot of what you said, but I think it really is important to mention the makeup and the the makeup department. And it actually, so Mrs. Doubtfire actually took home the Oscar for best makeup. The Mrs. Doubtfire getup was incredible. Just looking at the Mrs. Doubtfire character, you would never know that, number one, it was a man, and number two, it was Robin Williams. You would never know from looking at the person. So I think that was the presentation of the Mrs. Doubtfire character was incredible. I think there was a little bit of green screening that was done. I don't know if you caught this. Did you catch the green screening that was in there?
Not at all.
Okay, so and again, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that there, because these are the parts that kind of jumped out at me as potential green screens. But when Sally Field was opening the door to the house and looking outside onto the street, I believe that was green screened, simply because the set for the house was not the actual inside of that house.
Oh, really?
Yes. They did not film this movie in that house, even though I think the address, I think it was 2640 Steiner Street, is the actual physical address of that house that was used for the exterior. But that was not the actual filming location because they filmed it on a soundstage. So, and if any of you have any other information to this, feel free to comment us or, tweet us on Twitter there. But I remember reading someplace that the movie was shot on a soundstage, but they just used the exterior of the house. So when they opened the door, they had to supply the background of what it would look like opening the door to 2640 Steiner Street, but with the soundstage. So there was some green screening there, but it was done very, very well. So all that aside, I'm actually going to give the presentation a 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with anything that you've said. I don't want to change my score because I don't.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I echo all of those sentiments.
Yeah, like it was done very, very well. Music and sound, I really liked the soundtrack. I liked the song choices they had. A lot of those kind of man lady songs. Dude looks like a lady, and Papa's got a brand new bag, and a lot of the song choices they used to fit in the story were spot on. I thought they were really well done. Howard Shore composed the music for this, and interestingly enough, I didn't know this. I learned this recently. Howard Shore was he composed the Saturday Night Live theme song, and he was originally part of the band for Saturday Night Live.
I love the SNL theme song.
Yeah, so that was Howard Shore. But so I don't have anything bad to say about the music. I don't think that. I'm not going to give it a perfect score because it didn't blow me away. But it was good. The original music that was written for it suited the story and suited what was happening. So I'm going to give the music and sound a 4.25.
Well, you're probably going to hate me for this. I wasn't impressed with the music and wasn't impressed with it.
You're allowed to be wrong. It's okay.
Well, I'm not wrong. This is just like my opinion, man.
Mm-hmm. Opinions are like armpits.
Yeah. Mine smell really good right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, weirdness aside, soundtrack was there. It wasn't bad. I wasn't that impressed with it, though.
Interesting.
If I had to score it, I'd probably give it a 3.5.
Ouch. But
I don't think it's just there wasn't anything that stood out to me. It was
It supplemented what was going on.
It supplemented when it went on. This the song choices were of the time, minus the Aerosmith song. The House of Pain song in the beginning was a 90s hit. It was a 90s smash.
Yeah.
House of Pain, Jump Around. But yeah, I mean the soundtrack was it was all fine.
Okay.
Didn't blow me away.
Okay. So while you're in the hot seat, why don't you talk about uniqueness? How do you think this movie was as far as uniqueness goes?
It really good. I'm struggling to think of a movie before this where the protagonist is trying to sneak in to see other characters in the same sense that this character did, Robin Williams did. I don't see. Yeah, it's very, very unique. I'm struggling just to think of anything to compare it to, even something that came out later.
Right.
Of
course, we don't do research.
No. So I'd probably give this a 4 for uniqueness.
Just a 4?
Yeah, just a 4.
Seems kind of low.
Well, it covers a lot of the kid movie tropes, the family friendly tropes where dad will do anything to see his family kind of thing.
Right, but were there any other movies that had those tropes as prevalent as they were here? You know, as far as the dad doing whatever he could do to see his kids.
I mean, I can't think of an example off the top of my head. It says the themes feel familiar.
Yeah.
The execution is unique.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And for that, I'll give it a 4.
Okay. I agree with everything you said, but I'm kicking it up to a 4.5.
Cool.
And then engagement factor, you know, how pulled into this movie were we? I think you and we had both seen the movie before, but we were also kind of both talking about how this felt a little bit slow. So I'm not going to say that this movie is the most engaging movie of all. And I really don't want to, I mean, I'm looking at all my other ratings and I've given it 4, you know, a 4 is the lowest rating I've given it, but the engagement factor is going to dip below that a little bit. I'm going to say the engagement factor on this is 3.75, simply because, you know, Robin Williams has his moments of, you know, kind of improving, and those are kind of, I think, what would pull me in to see where he's going to go with something or what he's going to do. But apart from that, during those kind of filler scenes that we could do without, or maybe that could have been cut for time a little bit, you know, I'm going to check out a little bit. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm there with you. I'm not going to give it that high a score, but when the movie pulled me in, it did a really good job of doing it. But it was peaks and valleys, and in my estimation, the valleys lasted a lot longer than the peaks.
Okay.
So for that, I'm going to give it a 3 even.
That seems really low.
I was on my phone.
Yeah, I saw that
a lot.
I saw that. Now, before we declare the numbers as being officially in, do you want to do any take-backsies, changes, modifications, updates, anything like that?
Let me take a quick look-see here. Where am I? What did I give the script?
Script you gave a 4.
What was the acting?
3.75.
Yeah, I'm going to keep everything.
You sure?
Yes, I'm going to keep everything.
All right. So that being said, the numbers are in.
Let's hear it, baby.
All right. So here's what we got. Acting. So this is Mrs. Doubtfire. Acting 4.17. Script 4. Presentation 4.75. Music and sound 3.88. Uniqueness 4.25. Engagement factor 3.38. For a grand average total of 4.07, putting this just above Raging Bull. Just above The Wrestler and below Interstellar.
I think I feel pretty good about that.
So top 10.
How do you feel about that?
I like it.
Do you wish it were a little higher?
I do. Yeah. I wish it was a little higher because I think this movie is better than Interstellar. I think it's I think it's better than Speed.
I agree with. I agree. It's far better than Speed.
Yeah, I mean, Lion King, Die Hard, Princess Bride, and Pulp Fiction are all definitely above that. I think I would like to see this above Speed. Like with. I would love to see this with a rating of like 4.32.
See, now
between Speed and Lion King.
I think Interstellar is a better movie overall. I don't think Doubtfire is a better movie than Interstellar.
Interesting, but according to the numbers,
according to the numbers,
we thought Interstellar was better than Mrs. Doubtfire, which you agree with.
I agree. Yeah,
right.
I agree with it. But Interstellar is far better than Speed.
No, but I'm sorry. Mrs. Doubtfire is 407. So yeah, Interstellar is just is above Mrs. Doubtfire, and then the Wrestler is going to be just below Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh man, this is the more movies we get on here, like the more we could talk about this.
Yeah,
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, we could even do an episode where all we do is talk about ratings.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting just to kind of hash that out.
Yeah. I mean, we can't change the ratings. I don't want to like destroy the sanctity of our ratings.
Agreed.
But it'd be interesting to revisit some of these and just sort of hypothetically, talk about some things. But,
yeah, really.
So that is Mrs. Doubtfire, 4.07 on the total average. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Now, next week or next episode, we're actually going to be pulling from our vault.
The vault of movies from previous watches. What? I was trying to think of like a Christmas past, like parallel.
Yeah, the movies of
it's not working.
Casual Movie Club past.
Right.
Something like that.
It's a episode that you, the audience, have not heard yet, though.
Right.
We're not rerunning
because we recorded it. But this is we are actually going to be doing a movie that came out in 1980 something called The Wraith with Charlie Sheen. And who was the cop in there?
Was that Nick Nolte?
Randy Quaid? Was it Randy Quaid?
Yeah, it was Randy Quaid.
Yeah.
You're right.
Interesting movie. We had a lot of fun talking about it. But Brian's got a prior engagement for next week, so he's not going to be able to make it. So we're going to be doing, we're pulling from the bank for next week's episode. Definitely check it out. You guys are going to love it. It's going to come out Thursday. But if you are a member of our Patreon page, if you are a member, a true inside member of the Casual Movie Club, you can get access to the podcast one day early if you pledge $5 or more. So you can do that from casualmovieclub.com. Click on the Patreon button up on the very top. Also, feel free to share our podcast with anybody that you would love to have as a member of the Casual Movie Club, because all are welcome.
All are welcome.
Everyone is welcome in the Casual Movie Club. So please get everyone to join us. We would love to have as many people joining us in the Casual Movie Club. And of course, paying us through Patreon is always a nice thing too. So share out our website if you would. On the very bottom of our website, we have all the links to where you can find us on places like iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So check us out on one or many or all of those platforms if you have some free time. And hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Casual Movie Club. You can also give us a call at 402
882-2742. You almost got it. That's 402-882-2742. That's a Google Voice number. Send us a text, leave us a voicemail, and if you are so inclined, we will read it on the next pod.
That's right. So we would love to have you guys be a part of that as well, because we do love your feedback. Feel free to also leave a review for our podcast on any of the platforms that you listen to us on, because as always, we would love to hear back from you. So next week's going to be The Wraith. The week after that is going to be Brian's surprise movie for me.
I talked to you a bit earlier about it.
Yep.
And I told you I was waffling between one or the other.
Yeah, so which movies are you thinking of doing?
Well, it's a lock now. I know exactly which one we're watching.
Nice. Which one are we doing?
You'll find out.
I was trying to see if I could slip a quick question in there and have you blurt it out.
I really want to ask you if you've seen this. I don't think you've seen this, and I don't know if you know about this movie.
It's quite possible.
I don't think you do. I don't think you know about this movie,
well, and
that makes me excited.
And it sucks because I have to wait 2 weeks to find out what it is.
I'm so sorry. I wish we could hang out next week.
I do too, and I'm assuming I'm going to speak for all you guys listening. I'm assuming you guys do too.
I know they do.
Yeah, but next week, enjoy what we have because it's really cool. You guys are going to have fun with it, and then we will see you again in 2 weeks for the mystery movie, whatever it is Brian has, and then the week after that's going to be a movie we both picked together. But I have a feeling I know what it's going to be anyway. Either way. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And you guys have a wonderful day, week, night, whatever it is. And we will see you next time.
Bye.